Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Tuesday, November 22nd, 2022. Today I'm going to recap last night's Monday Night Football game, look ahead to tonight's college football games. We have college basketball, NBA, NHL discussed yesterday, look ahead to everything going on today. We have the World Cup, Dancing with the Stars finale to discuss, news and notes, and best bet. All right, we'll start with Monday Night Football. This game was not interesting, to say the least, as the 49ers went out and dominated the Arizona Cardinals 38-10. San Francisco looks like a team is putting it all together. They're 6-4. Arizona is 4-7. Jimmy Garoppolo didn't have to do too much. 20 of 29, 228 yards and 4 touchdowns. Colt McCoy was bad. 24-34, 218 yards and a pick. As I think it's fair to say that the 49ers are the prohibitive favorites in the NFC West, and I think could make it out of the conference to make the Super Bowl as well. All right, now move on to college football. We have a couple of games tonight, both in the MAC. First up is Ball State and Miami of Ohio. My line projection is Miami of Ohio by 3, total 47.5. And it is Miami of Ohio by 3, total 44.5. So the picks here is going to be the over. I think that these action games tend to be more high scoring than people think. So give me the over in this spot. And that game tonight is 7 o'clock on ESPN+. On ESPNU, we have Bowling Green and Ohio. Ohio's a 7-point favorite, totals 54.5. Another action game, another over. I have 8-60 and 13-20. I think that this is going to be the more high or scoring game of the two. A lot of points and a lot of not stops, no defense. So giving the over in both action games for tonight. We'll move on to college basketball now. A big slate to go over from yesterday and another big window to look ahead to for today. A lot of neutral site games, obviously, with all these Thanksgiving week tournaments. Cayman Islands Classic, LSU over Illinois State, 77-61. Gulf Coast Showcase, Kansas City over Toledo, 83-71. That's a pretty big upset. Paradise Invitational, Bryant over Detroit Mercy, 98-88. So best bet was a winner. Austin P over Albany, 74-59 in the Sunshine Slam. Hall of Fame Classic, San Fran over Northern Iowa, 75-69. Eastern Illinois over SMWC, 102-50 or 102-40. Paradise Jam, Buffalo over George Mason, 82-74. Cayman Islands, Akron over Western Kentucky, 72-53. Sunshine Slam, Bucknell over Presbyterian, 66-65. Maui, number 10 Creighton over number 21 Texas Tech, 76-65. Gulf Coast, Indiana State over Eastern Carolina, 79-75. Hall of Fame Classic, Wichita over Grand Canyon, 55-43. SoCal Challenge, Tennessee State over Cal State Northridge, 74-73. Paradise, Belmont over Howard, 96-73. Tom Konchalski, UIC over Stonehill, 77-71. Cayman Islands, Nevada over Tulane, 75-66. Maui, number 9 Arkansas over Louisville, 80-54. Gulf Coast, Drexel over Texas Arlington, 59-38. SoCal, High Point over Central Michigan, 68-67. Paradise, BC over Wyoming, 59-48. Texas Rio Grande over Western Illinois, 78-77. Sunshine Slam, UAB over South Florida, 80-65. Utah over Georgia Tech, 68-64 in the Fort Myers tip-off. Florida State over Mercer, 81-72. Florida A&M over Albany State, Georgia, 70-65. In overtime, Duquesne over North Florida, 82-83. Lehigh over St. Fran, PA, 82-76. Marshall over Chicago State, 82-70. UNC Wilmington over Mount Olive, 94-47. Charleston Southern over Bethune, 78-63. La Tech over Yale Monroe, 78-58. Tom Konchalski, Fordham over Holy Cross, 67-53. Colgate over Monmouth, 85-66. Empire Classic, Syracuse over Richmond, 74-71 in overtime. Clemson over Loyola, Maryland, 72-41. Vegas for Rice over Abilene Christian, 77-61. Gulf Coast, Florida Gulf Coast over Northern Kentucky, 82-61. Cayman Island, Kansas State over Rhode Island, 77-57. Number 25, Iowa over Omaha, 100-64. Allen Invitational, Rice over Houston Christian, 76-67. Paradise Jam, Drake over Tarleton, 71-64. Lipscomb over Confident, 86-61. Number 8, Duke over Bellarmine, 74-57. Fort Myers, Mississippi State over Marquette, 58-55. Sunshine Slam, Georgia over St. Joe's, 66-53. Leon Black Classic, number 4, Texas over Northern Arizona, 73-48. Maui, number 17, San Diego State over Ohio State, 88-77. Wazoo over Eastern Washington, 82-56. UC Santa Barbara over Hampton, 79-66. Air Force over FC Upstate, 83-56. Empire Classic, St. John's over Temple, 78-72. San Diego over San Diego Christian, 98-69. Vegas Ford, UC Riverside over Weber State, 72-65. UC Irvine over Life Pacific, 116-54. Texas State over Cal, 59-55. SoCal Challenge, Minnesota over Cal Baptist, 62-61 in overtime. Maui, number 14, Arizona over Cincinnati, 101-93. And SoCal UNLV over Southern Illinois, 56-49. Now we look ahead to today's game, Gulf Coast Showcase, Toledo, Eastern Carolina. My line for this game is Toledo by 16, and the line is Toledo giving 8.5. I'm going to lay the points. Bounce back spot for Toledo after a loss. Cayman Islands, Illinois State, Western Kentucky. My line's Western by a whopping 28-7.5. I'll lay the points. CBS Sports Network, 11:30. Hall of Fame Classic, Northern Iowa, Grand Canyon from Kansas City. My line's Grand Canyon by 6.5, and it's 2.5. I'll lay the points. 12 o'clock, Austin P. Bucknell from Daytona Beach. My line's Austin P. by 12, and it is only 1.5. I'll lay the points. Northern Illinois, Sam Houston in Fort Myers. My line, Sam Houston, 7.5, and it's 11.5. Give me Northern Illinois getting the points. That's a lot of points. Purdue, Fort Wayne, Eastern Michigan from Cancun, 12:30. My line is Eastern by 3.5, and it is Purdue, Fort Wayne by 3.5. Give me Eastern Michigan getting the points and plus 140 to win outright. NJIT Sacred Heart, my line is Sacred Heart 11.5, and it's 7.5. I'll lay the points. That's a 1 o'clock game. 1:30 from Estero, Texas Arlington, Northern Kentucky. My line is Northern Kentucky by 13.5, and it's 6.5. I'll lay the points. Cayman Islands, LSU, and Akron. My line is LSU by 13.5, and it's 5.5. I'll lay the points. San Francisco, Wichita State, 2 o'clock. CBS Sports Network from Kansas City. My line San Fran 14, and it's 1.5. I'll lay the points. Number 21, Texas Tech, Louisville, 2:30 ESPN 2 from Maui. My line's Texas Tech by a whopping 13.5, and it's 11.5. I'll lay the points. LIU, South Dakota from Fort Myers. My line is South Dakota by 16.5, and it's 14.5. I'll lay the points. Southern Miss, Winthrop from Cancun. My line's Winthrop 8.5. This is a 3 o'clock game, by the way, and it's Southern Miss by 1.5. Give me Winthrop getting the 1.5 and minus 108 outright. North Alabama, Hampton. My line is North Alabama by 3, and it's 1.5. Total's 146.5. I'll take the over. That's a 4 o'clock game. UIC, Holy Cross from Fordham's Arena in the Bronx. Mine's UIC by 12, and it is 4.5. I'll lay the 4.5. UAB, Georgia from Daytona Beach. Mine's Georgia by 1, and it's UAB by 7.5. That's a big line. Give me Georgia plus a 7.5 and plus 270 outright. Canisius, Cornell. My line's Cornell by 10, And this is a 5 o'clock game, by the way. And it is 6.5. I'll lay the points. Ohio State, Cincinnati for Maui on ESPN2. My line is Ohio State by 3, and it's Ohio State 3.5. Totals 146.5. I'll take the under. I don't feel good about it, though. Kansas City, Indiana State for Estero. My line's Indiana State by 13.5, and it's 8.5. I'll lay the points. And that game is from Estero. Tulane, Rhode Island from Cayman Islands. My line is Tulane by 8. And it's 9.5. Totals 140.5. I'll take the over. Number 13, Auburn Bradley from Cancun at 6 o'clock on the CBS Sports Network. My line's Auburn by 23.5. And it's 13.5. I'll lay the points. Fairleigh Dickinson, Florham, Hartford, St. Andrews, NCAT. We can skip both of those. Cal State, Bakersfield, A&M, Corpus Christi. My line is Corpus Christi by 9, and it's 8.5. Totals 128.5. That's easy, and it's an over. Tennessee Martin, Arkansas State. My line is Tennessee Martin by 7, and it's Arkansas State by 4.5. Totals 143.5. Give me Tennessee Martin plus 4.5 and plus 158 to win outright. South Florida, St. Joe's, 6:30 from Daytona Beach. My line is St. Joe's by 14. And it's only 1.5. I'll lay the points. Bowling Green, Notre Dame. My line for this on the ACC network is Notre Dame by 33, and it's 13.5. I'll lay the points. Southern New Orleans, Troy, Truett, McConnell, Tennessee Tech, Kentucky State, Morris State. We can skip all those. Elon, Jacksonville State at 7 o'clock. My line is Jacksonville State by 26, and it's 8.5. I'll lay the points. Coppin State, Towson. My line's Towson 39, and it is 15.5. I'll lay it. UMBC and UNC Greensboro. My line's Greensboro 10.5, and it is 14.5. Give me UMBC getting the points. That's too high. UC San Diego and George Washington. My line's George Washington by 37.5, and it's 8.5. I'll lay the points. Stonehill, Fordham. My line's Fordham by a whopping 40.5, and it's 14.5. I'll lay the points. Vermont, Yale. My line is Yale by 6, and it's 2.5. I'll lay it with Yale. Oh, they changed the game times for the 2 games at the Barclays Center, it looks like. Let's see if that's correct. That's wild. But anyway, Temple against Richmond. And yes, they did change him from the Barclays Center. So my line for this is Temple 4.5, and it's 1.5. I'll lay it with Temple. I knew something wasn't right there. Southern Illinois and St. Bonaventure. My line's Bonaventure by 30.5, and it's 7.5. I'll lay the points. St. Mary's, Maryland, Norfolk, we can skip. Rider, Rutgers, the New Jersey battle. My line's Rutgers 20.5, and it's 15.5 on the Big Ten Network. I'll lay the points. 7:30, William Wood, Southeast Missouri State, we could skip. Abilene Christian Weber State from Dollar Loan Center in Henderson. My line's Abilene by 1.5. And it's 6.5. Give me Weber State getting the points. They're plus 240 outright, but I'm not willing to pull the trigger on that one. Our Lady of the Lake Incarnate, word we could skip. Northern Arizona and Texas Rio Grande. I have a pick'em. And it's Northern Arizona by 4.5. Give me Texas Rio Grande getting the 4.5 and plus 160 to win outright. And that's bizarre. They did switch them now, like on the updated. schedule. Very odd, the 2 games at the Barclays Center. Next up, Drexel, Florida, Gulf Coast from Estero. My line's Gulf Coast by 2, and it's 2.5. Totals 136.5. I'll take the over. Nevada and Kansas State from Cayman Islands. My line's Kansas State by 12, and it's 4.5. I'll lead the points. Game of the night, number 10 Creighton, number 9 Arkansas, 8 o'clock on ESPN from Maui. My line is Arkansas by 1. And why don't I see this line? Very strange. There must be an injury or something because I don't see it anywhere. It's not even in the featured section. Arkansas by 2's the line. I don't know the total, though. Which is nuts. Let me check Vegas Insider, but this is going to be a tremendous game. I mean, would it be crazy if one of these 2 teams is a 1 seed in March? Not at all. I don't think both will be. But, so the total is 142.5. I'll take the over. Paul, Quinn, North Texas, Jarvis Christian, Crowley's Ridge, Arkansas, Pine Bluff, Colorado, Christian, Northern Colorado. We can skip all those. Marist, Maryland, Eastern Shore. My line's Marist 9.5. And it is UMass by 2.5. Give me Marist plus the 2.5 and plus 126 outright. Wisconsin, South North Dakota. We can skip Prairie View A&M and UTSA. My line's UTSA by 16.5 and it's only 1.5. I'll lead the points. Louisiana, SMU on 8:30. My line is Louisiana by 9 and it's Southern Methodist by 2.5. Give me ULL plus the 2.5 and plus 118 outright. Penn Lafayette. My line is Penn 14. And it's 5.5. I'll lay the points with Penn. Albany Presbyterian from Daytona Beach. My line is Albany 10.5. And Albany is a 1-point dog. Give me Albany getting the 1 and plus whatever the money line is. It's probably like minus 105 or something like that. CBS Sports Network from Cancun, Liberty Northwestern. My line's Northwestern by 8 and it's only 3.5. I'll lead the points. Fairleigh Dickinson Pitt. My line's Pitt 31 and it is 14.5 on the ACC Network. I'm going to lead the points at Pitt. 9 o'clock, Montana State, Northern, and Montana. We can skip. Oral Roberts and Utah State. My line is Utah State by 15. It's 9.5. I'll lead the points. Alcorn, Utah. My line's Utah by 18. And it's 7.5. I'll lead the points. Grambling, Arizona State on the Pac-12 Network. My line's Zona State by 47.5. And it's 19.5. I'll lead the points. Syracuse, St. John's. In the late window gets moved. It's supposed to be 7. It got moved to the 9 o'clock spot. That was bizarre. You don't see that very often. My projection is a pick'em. And St. John's is given 3. Give me Syracuse getting the 3. They're plus 126 outright. They kind of need the game, Syracuse. So I'm going to take them to win. 10 o'clock, Westcliff and Cal State Fullerton, we can skip. Dollar Loan Center, UC Riverside, and Wright State. My line's Wright State by 3.5. And UC Riverside's a 1.5-point road favorite. Or neutral site favorite. Give me Wright State plus the 1.5. And minus 102 outright. Mount St. Mary's and Pacific. Mine's Pacific 25.5, and it's 5.5. I'll lay the points of Pacific. Number 17, San Diego State and Arizona. Great game in Maui as well. My line's Arizona by 6. And Zona is giving 1. I'll lay the 1 with Zona on ESPN for Maui. And last but not least, Sacramento State and UC Davis. I project a pick'em. And it's UC Davis by 4.5. Give me Sacramento State getting the 4.5. They're plus 162 to win the game outright. All right, now move on to the NBA. We'll go over the results from yesterday and look ahead to a smaller window for today, which is going to be interesting to say the least. Cavs over the Hawks, 114-102. Pacers over the Magic, 123-102. Bulls over the Celtics, 121-107. Bucks over the Blazers, 119-111. Wolves over the Heat, 105-101. Pelicans over the Warriors, 128-83. Knicks over the Thunder, 129-119. The Clippers beat the Jazz, 121-114. All right, 7:30 on TNT of the Nets and the Sixers. Like nobody's playing for Philly. I feel bad. My projections, Nets by 8, total 219 and a fifth. And it is Nets by 7.5, total 217 over. Kevin Durant over by himself. 8 o'clock, Kings, Grizzlies. And by the way, that's Ben Simmons' return to Philly. So he has a chance to stick it to him here. Kings, Grizz, my line's Grizz 6, total 233 and 13/20, and it's Sacramento by 2, total 231.5. They're trying to tell you that Ja Morant's probably not going to play. In fact, the Sacramento's favorite. I know Bane's out, but let's see about Ja. But if Ja were to miss the game, my line projection here would be Sacramento by 0.5. And that's also without Bane. So, hard call. But right now, Grizzlies +2 and +1 weights the pick. But the second choice is going to be the over. 9 o'clock, Pistons, Nuggets. My line's Nuggets 17.25, total 227 and 9/10, and it's 5.5 at 224. I'll lay to 5.5 at Denver. And last but not least, the Lakers and the Suns on TNT. My projection, Suns 6.5, total 224 and 3/20, and 7.5 and 226.5. I'll pick the under because a lot of guys are missing on each side. All right, the NHL. Interesting night last night. We'll go over the results and look ahead to a busier window. Or no, I'm sorry. It's not a busy window. Yesterday was a busy window. The busy NHL day is Wednesday. Devils over the Oilers, 5-2 for their 13th straight win. Holy crap. Flames over the Flyers, 5-2. Bruins over the Lightning, 5-3. Isles over the Leafs, 3-2 in OT. On a game winner by Anthony Beauvillier. Jets over the Canes, 4-3 in overtime on a game winner by Josh Morrissey. Preds over the Coyotes, 4-3 in a shootout. Blues over the Ducks, 3-1. Avs over the Stars, 3-2 in a shootout. Sharks over the Sens, 5-1. The Golden Knights over the Canucks, 5-4. 2 games tonight, 7 o'clock on the NHL Network. You have the Sabres and the Canadiens. Montreal is stunningly 9-8-1. I don't know if you guys are aware of that. And in Buffalo is falling off. They're 7-11-0. Montreal's a slight home favorite, -118. Buffalo -102, over under 6.5. Overs -115, unders -105. Buffalo +0.5 is -114. Montreal -0.5 is -106. Montreal money lines to pick, -118 to get to 2 games over NHL 500. And then the Rangers and the Kings, 10:30 from Crypto.com. It's a pick of -110 each way. So is the puck line -0.5, -110 each way. Over is -105. Under 6 is -115. Going with the Kings. Fading the Rangers has been a thing lately. Just don't like how the Rangers have looked at all. They have a lot of problems. That's another show for another day with Derek, I guess. So we're gonna lay -110 on the money line with the Kings. Parlay them with Montreal. Maybe we even get a little frisky, Montreal in regulation or something like that. But that's a fun money line parlay. Maybe throw like an NBA like something in there as well. Or World Cup, which is what we're gonna talk about next. So World Cup results. We'll go over the results from yesterday and so far today and look ahead to the rest of today and tomorrow morning. So yesterday, we talked about England over Iran 6-2, Netherlands over Senegal 2-0. Goals in this game came at the end. Cody Gakpo, 84th minute, and David Klaassen in the 99th minute for the Netherlands. And then USA and Wales 1-1 draw. Disappointing outcome for USA, in my opinion, after having a 1-0 lead. Timothy Weah in the 36th minute put USA on the board 1-0. And then a penalty kick by Gareth Bale in the 82nd minute tied it. That's where the draw came from. And then this morning, the upset of the World Cup so far. Saudi Arabia over Argentina 2-1. Huge stunner. Argentina went up 1-0 on a penalty kick by Lionel Messi in the 10th minute. And the second minute, you had Saleh El Shahri in the 48th minute tie it for Saudi Arabia. And then 5 minutes later, Salam Al Dosari, 53rd minute, put them up 2-1. Right now going on is Denmark and Tunisia. I believe I picked an over on the podcast, but that doesn't look good. So we're going to pick the 2 games that are left today and then the early games tomorrow, like super early games. So 11 o'clock on Fox today is Mexico-Poland, Group C. This group's kind of wide open now that Argentina lost today. I thought Argentina was the team to beat in that group for sure. Mexico's plus 145, Poland's plus 220, draw plus 195. I'm going to make a move here. Poland was my sleeper pick to win this group. They're plus 220 against Mexico, so I'm going to take that and run. So, Mexico plus 220. Or, I'm sorry, Poland plus 220 against Mexico. And at 2 o'clock on Fox today, France, Australia. France is a monster, minus 410 favorite. Australia is 10-1 and draws 5-1. France is going to win this game. But I'm going to go under 2.5 goals plus 112 just to be conservative with the pick here. 5 o'clock Fox Sports 1 tomorrow morning. You have Morocco and Croatia. By the way, France, Australia, Group D. And then the game I just alluded to, Croatia and Morocco, that is Group F. That is going to be getting on their way. Morocco's plus 270, Croatia's plus 110, draw plus 210. For this group, I think I picked Croatia. And I know I picked Canada. Canada was my surprise of this group. I think I did say Belgium and Canada were my two. And then I said that Croatia would disappoint. But the move would be betting Canada to beat Croatia. But I think Croatia gets a win here, plus 110 against Morocco. And then the second game that's going to be going on while I'm recording the podcast, Germany, Japan, and that is Group E. Germany's minus 230, Japan is 6-1, draw plus 370. I'm going to go bold here and pick the draw. Japan is a country that always shows up for the World Cup. I think that they're in a tough group this year, with Spain and Germany both being in this group. So, I want to pick the draw at plus 370. I think that's very valuable. I think this is going to be the group with a lot of wacky results. I talked myself out of the draw, actually, because I just remembered I picked Germany to win the group. So I'm going to go over 2.5 goals at plus 124 for that game. All right, last night was the Dancing with the Stars finale. It was a really fun show. It was a lot of celebrating in the show. 2 big retirements. Professional dancer Cheryl Burke, who I thought was the best dancer in the history of the show from a professional standpoint. And Len Goodman, who's going to go down as the greatest judge of all time in this show. So, 2 big names retiring. So, congratulations to Cheryl Burke and Len Goodman. So, the finale. Each contestant had to perform a redemption dance that was coached by one of the judges and one freestyle dance. Shangela and Gleb went first. Their redemption dance was a quick step. Their judge assigned them was Bruno, and they did Queen Bee by Rochelle Diamante and got a 36. Wayne and Whitney went second, and their judge assignment was for Len, and Len assigned them a quick step to Your Love Keeps Lifting Me Higher and Higher, Jackie Wilson, and they also got a 36. Carrie Ann had Charlie and Mark. They did a jive dance to Grown by Little Mix and got a perfect 40. And then Gabby and Val were assigned Derek, and they did a cha-cha-cha dance to I Like It Like That by Pete Rodriguez and got a 40. The freestyle numbers. Wayne and Whitney went first. Their freestyle dance was a remix to Get Up and 24 Karat Magic by Ciara featuring Chamillionaire and Bruno. They got a perfect 40. Next up in the freestyle round was Charlie and Mark. They did Us Again by Pinar Toprak. Got a perfect 40. Gabby and Val's freestyle was the Cell Block Tango from Chicago. That, I thought, was the single best performance of the evening. That was a perfect score. And then going last was Shangela and Gleb. They did their freestyle to a mix of Survivor and Call Me Mother by Destiny's Child and RuPaul. And got a perfect 40. At the end of the show was the results. Coming in 4th place was Shangela and Gleb, like I thought they would. Coming in 3rd I predicted this pairing to win yesterday on the show, but as I was watching the show and after everybody performed, I thought they were going to come in third, and that was Wayne and Whitney. And your winners of Dancing with the Stars Season 31 in the show yesterday, I thought this pairing would come in third. And then watching them yesterday night, I thought they'd come in second. But they won it. That's what the name D'Amelio does to you. Charlie and Mark wins it. They were great all year. Good for Charlie. She said that what inspired her to do this show was being bullied on social media about how she's not a great dancer. But she proved a lot of those haters wrong on this show, that's for sure. Charlie and Mark did a great job, and Gabby and Val were the runners-up as I predicted. But watching the show, I thought that they should have won. I thought that Cell Block Tango performance was among the best of the year. And their Cha-Cha-Cha was among one of the best of the year. I like it like that. Their finale, Cha-Cha-Cha, I should say. But good for Charlie and Mark. Congrats to them. Gabby and Val were the runners-up. They were great, too. Wayne and Whitney were awesome all year. But they kind of took a step back in their redemption dance. Shangela and Gleb, I thought, was easily the worst pairing of the four. But great season. And hopefully this show is back for us to cover next season. All right, news and notes time. There is something that I meant to bring up in yesterday's news and notes that I forgot about. And it's a huge deal. Bob Iger is returning to Disney as CEO. This is a huge deal. He's replacing the guy that he handpicked, Bob Chapek, who didn't do a great job. Now Iger's going to come in and we'll see how long he is back in charge for. And there's a lot of things that I think are at stake here. Like pricing with the parks, obviously. TV deals. ESPN. You also have, there's some rumors about them buying Netflix, which would be absolutely wild if Netflix and Disney were to come together, which I doubt that would be the case. And the statement was, we thank Bob Chapek for his service to Disney over his long career, including navigating the company through the unprecedented challenges of the pandemic. Now said by Susan Arnold, the chairman of the board for Disney, said in a statement on Sunday night, the board has concluded that as Disney embarks on an increasingly complex period of industry transformation, Bob Iger is unquestionably situated to lead the company through this pivotal period. But it was a very stunning development, obviously. And we hope it works out. It has to work out. And obviously Chapek's tenure was very short. He had a big hand to deal with COVID and everything, which kind of screwed up his tenure a little bit. But he didn't do that great of a job, I felt. So, I think that Iger coming back is a desperation move, obviously. But we'll see if Iger can work that magic that he had before Chapek took over for him. So, big deal. And I think there's going to be a lot of people fired. And I think that some changes are going to be made for the better. And now, sports news. The biggest story that broke last night is that Aaron Judge arrived in San Francisco yesterday and is expected to meet with the Giants this week. Let the fun begin. For sure. And I think he's going to take some visits. And I think that he'll ultimately sit through these meetings and flirt with other teams. And then we'll see whether he comes back to New York or not. And speaking of New York, the Yankees were looking at Jacob deGrom's medicals, as they've requested medicals on Jacob deGrom. Like, I mean, would I be against the Yankees signing Jacob deGrom? No. To me, it comes down to the price. I think that deGrom going to New York would make that rotation the best in the league instantly. With him, Cole, and Cortez at the top. But you could argue that it's the most top-heavy rotation, not the rotation with the most depth, kind of like the Mets last year. Like, the Mets probably had the most top-heavy rotation, but their depth behind those two kind of faded in the second half of the season. So we'll see what happens with deGrom. I don't think he's going to the Yanks or back to the Mets. I think he's not going to play or pitch in a New York uniform next year. Alek Manoah called Gerrit Cole the biggest cheater in MLB history. Manoah, I like Alek Manoah. I think he's going to be a contender for the Cy Young next year. But I just think that's hate talk. All those pitchers use sticky stuff. All those pitchers. Him, Verlander, the Scherzer, you name them. But of course, he has to pick out his rival, the rival team's best pitcher. The LA teams are eyeing Mitch Haniger. That'd be an interesting flyer. The Red Sox made contact with reps for Japanese pitcher Kude Senga. Also in touch are the Yankees, Mets, and Padres. I think Senga's going to be a good pitcher. I think Masahiro Tanaka is a very interesting comparison. Somewhere between him and Sean Manaea. Some football. Justin Fields day-to-day with the shoulder injury. Chase Edmonds to miss time with a high ankle sprain from the Broncos. Kyle Pitts towards MCL will require surgery, likely out for the year. That's just brutal for Atlanta. Atlanta's had such a weird year, and I don't think it's been weird in a good way. Adoree Jackson out at least a month with an MCL sprain, another brutal injury for the Giants. The Jets are not committing on a starting quarterback for Week 12 against the Bears. I think it's going to be back to Zach Wilson, but I could be wrong. Because Joe Flacco sucks and Mike White only had one good game in his life. Melvin Gordon cut by the Broncos amid fumble issues this season. That was overdue. Jameson Williams rejoins the Lions as he will return to practice today after tearing his ACL. That is awesome. Some college football stuff. Deion Sanders is talking to some power brokers from Colorado and South Florida for head coaching vacancies, but is not talking to Auburn. Of course Deion's going to leave. Deion had a great year. Got that program to overachieve. We'll see who lands him, and whoever lands him is going to be getting a lot of pub. Lane Kiffin denies Auburn rumor as he claps back at a reporter who said he was taking over the Auburn job. Oof. If he goes to Auburn, you know that's going to be on freezing cold takes on Twitter. Oof. Awful story here. Florida pulls 4-star quarterback Marcus Stokes' scholarship after he used a racial slur in a social media post. Yikes. Of course you're going to get your scholarship pulled. That's the world we live in now. With if you do something wrong on social media, say something hateful, you're going to get punished for it. We just saw it with Kyrie Irving with what he went through. And obviously now he's back with the Nets, amazingly enough. I think they're going to try their butts off to trade him. But you're going to, that's going to be the thing now. You're going to get in trouble for anything hate-related. For no matter what hate it is, you're going to get in trouble for it. So that doesn't surprise me at all. College basketball, the new AP poll is out. We are going to look at it. Number 1 is North Carolina, of course. Number 2 is Houston. Number 3 is Kansas. 4 is Texas. 5 is Virginia. So they made a big jump. 6 is Gonzaga. They drop after losing to Texas. 7 is Baylor. They drop after losing to Virginia. 8 is Duke. They drop after losing to Kansas. 9 is Arkansas. 10 is Creighton. They play each other tonight. 11 is Indiana. 12 is Michigan State. They jump up after big wins over Kentucky and Villanova. 13 is Auburn. 14 is Arizona. 15 is Kentucky. 16 Illinois. 17 San Diego State. 18 Alabama. 19 UCLA. 2 losses. Same for Kentucky. 20 is UConn. 21 is Texas Tech. 22 is Tennessee. 23 is Maryland. So they're now ranked. 24 is Purdue. And 25 is Iowa. So Big Ten getting a lot of respect here. Others receiving votes: TCU, St. Mary's, Ohio State, Michigan, Xavier, Charleston, Toledo, Miami, Dayton, Villanova, UNLV, Virginia Tech, St. Louis, Arizona State, Oregon, West Virginia, Texas A&M, Mississippi State, Utah State, Penn State. And obviously dropping from the rankings: TCU, Michigan, Dayton, Texas A&M. So, St. Mary's, I think, deserves to be ranked personally. I think that what they've done has been very impressive. I was ranked because they beat Seton Hall. I think St. Mary's is really good. Xavier's close to being ranked. Charleston's been a fun story. There's some other teams that are undefeated that aren't even listed on here, like Sam Houston State. But, they're not going to get listed on here. But the rankings aren't that bad. Some college basketball recruiting. Texas lands 5-star guard A.J. Johnson. So that's a big get for Chris Beard and the Longhorns. Joel Embiid out the next 2 games with the midfoot sprain. So that's not great for Philly. Luckily, one of those games is against Charlotte. For their sake. Warriors arrested everybody against the Pelicans. And Wiggins and Looney, I'm not sure if they played either. So Steve Kerr is probably the new Greg Popovich when it comes to randomly resting guys. Remember Pop got fined for that years ago? I don't think Kerr's the best coach in the NBA like Popovich was, and Popovich had those great Spurs teams, but Kerr's doing some Popovichian moves. Zion came back last night against Golden State. We talked about that. Some soccer. Argentina is getting absolutely destroyed on Twitter. And everybody's just ripping that team, of course. U.S. men's national team coach discusses a move that he made in the game of Greg Berhalter. He talked about why Jordan Morris came on instead of Gio. He said he felt he could have gave us speed and power. But they drew the game. Felt like they lost, but they drew. And somehow their odds didn't drop. Or their odds somehow went up in terms of odds to advance, which is very bizarre. Because their odds to get eliminated in group play before the tournament were minus 162, but now it's even money, which is odd. Obviously, the women's team said good luck to the men's team. There was a video of it. So, that was pretty neat to see. And last but not least, my best bet of the day brought to you by FanDuel. A lot of college basketball ones I like today. A lot of short spreads. I'm going to lay a half unit on a short favorite that I believe is going to cover. And I have a lot of nominees for this. But there's one that just stood out beyond the rest as a favorite. And now Creighton's favored over Arkansas, which is interesting. So that line was just posted to FanDuel. So the pick is going to be, I really don't know now. I'm going to go with San Francisco at minus 1.5, minus 106 over Wichita. I think they're better than Wichita State. Undefeated still. Wichita already is like 2-3 or something like that. So I'm going to lay the 1.5 with San Francisco against Wichita State is my best bet of the day. That's it for today's show. Tomorrow's show is going to be like the Friday show because of obligations for holidays. So no show Thanksgiving and no show on Black Friday. So we're going to do the Wednesday edition of the Friday show. We're going to blow it up, do everything, go over every game, and we're going to do the Fab Five in each sport. I know last couple years I did like the Turkey 22 or something like that, but we're just going to stick with our usual Fab Five and just call it a day. Alrighty, hope you guys have a great day, everyone.